we are drawn to the heart of life. Self-discovery, you can put it another name for it. So something, our entire system, life system, it gets integrated with a deeper consciousness and starts to function as the expression of consciousness on the surface and as the unity of consciousness inside. What happens is that what can be noticed is that as you're moving in life, your inner sensory and sensitiveness to your environment is almost as though your beingness is in correspondence with the universal consciousness and the field. So rather than feeling that you're relying on knowledge which is shaped in the head, very controversial, very opinionated, you're more moving by a kind of intuition, an inner sense to move in a way, and you trust it. You move with that. You don't know, it doesn't announce if you go here, this is going to happen, if you do that. It may do that in some cases, but largely it doesn't need to do that if you are receptive to it. So one finds oneself just moving, and then what happens, you come into the more auspicious unfolding, whereby your being can recognize, but this is by God, this is by the grace. This is not something created in the mind or the person. This is just life unfolding, and with such a sweet harmony, not necessarily a fluffy sweetness, but something that feels credible and potent and complete and fulfilling. And the more that this is recognized, the more the soul, if you want to put it with the word soul or your beingness, opens more to this. It accommodates that invitation, and it sort of merges more deeply into that field, a very integrated field. But this is a non-visual experiencing. It's more an intuitive, a sensing. And so we move away, or we are less reliant on constructed knowledge, on fixed modes of thinking, or on projections and things based on what you have experienced before, or mentalizing. And more there's a sort of a very immediate sensing and a kind of field of harmony moving through this body, because we give a lot of importance to the body. It is the house of being. So we know that wherever you see the body, just like if you go to visit someone's house, you go to the address, you find the house, you knock on the house to see if they're in. And in this house, you're almost always in. I say almost always in, because if somebody see your house of your body, they say, hey, John, how are you doing? And the John consciousness responds to that. And sometimes we're not really that much in. Sometimes we are somewhere, surfing on our projections, or, in some state of time backwards or something like this. But as we get more familiar and accommodate and welcome this spirit of harmony that you are discovering, not just hearing about, not just believing, but actually verifying and experiencing that, it's as though it opens up another kind of language where your communication is with nature and with life as a whole. Without labeling things, one moves about in one's own rhythm and find that life is healthy and harmonious. And the beings you meet is like something else is arranging your meetings. I say sometimes God becomes our secretary, arranges all your meetings for you. And all of them become auspicious to the extent that the thing is not auspicious in itself, it's potentially auspicious. It's fully auspicious when your own being responds to the invitation or the opportunity to integrate more deeply in whatever life brings. And this is what I so much encourage. Not for some outcome in the visual situations around you, like, now this is better and so on. Yes, that's part of it. That's part of the fruit of that. But more inwardly, one rests in a in a state of equanimity, of an inner, almost a kind of emptiness, which is not preoccupied with projections and fear and anxiety, but there's a natural confidence. You may call that faith, and a growing faith, an expanding faith. And the fruit of it is experience as you move in life, so to speak, in this way. And it's very agreeable and something deep. As I say, it's not a fluffy outcome. We're not searching for, oh yes, everything is so comfortable and sweet. A deeper satisfaction, of a satisfaction based on harmony. And like you're moving not just as an entity moving in a space, but in a field which is not filled only with shapes. That the field itself is shapeless. The shapes arise in it, but the shapes are somehow obeying the deeper consciousness. It's I don't have to go so much into that. I say taste. In the Bible it says also, taste and see that the Lord is good. Not think and see only, but taste. Sometimes thinking is a kind of tasting. But taste meaning be open to, welcome the possibility, open to the grace field. And as you discover, you yourself will verify. Indeed it is like that. It's so beautiful. More and more, deeper and deeper. And so what has been previously a focus on events in time and found to be exciting or depressing depending upon what the shape of our projections, that moves in a much more deeper way. And I want that, if you want to say I encourage people to look, to discover for themselves that harmony within and to move in that. You find that there's no real enemies in the life in this way. Everything is a support, everything is a friend or a teacher on the way. And one finds oneself less of some rigid, structured entity, but much more like a flowing space of being. God bless you. Thank you.